It was my last haircut of the day, so I had to finish up his haircut and go for the fight. There's a big fight in the village tonight. It all started one day when the nights were no longer peaceful in the village of Matopeni. There was a noise that sounded like drum beats through the village. Elders were the first to hear it, but it became more louder and scary each passing hour. The next morning, the entire village was asking their neighbors if they heard the sound in the night. Everyone started to believe that it was the ancestors' spirits and they might be angry with the village because we might have done something wrong. The next night, the drum beats returned louder and closer. No one could sleep. Even the bravest men stayed in their houses, too scared to investigate. The children cried, the elders prayed, but the sound couldn't stop. By the next day, people started asking the chief what they should do. But the chief couldn't hide the fear in his face. He said, "We will wait. Perhaps the spirits will leave us alone if we stay out of their way." The drums continued every night, but by the fourth night, the village had had enough. Everyone was tired. And at the sunrise, Chief Safro stood before the village and said, "We cannot live like this. If it's the ancestors' spirits tonight, they must be confronted. If the ancestors want a fight, tonight we shall give it to them. We face them together. No one will stand alone. The women and children will stay behind, safe in the village." And in the evening, Safro led the way and they started the journey towards the sound. The sound was coming from the dangerous Kutula forest, and they were brave enough to follow it, ready to fight any animal that crossed their path. And as they got closer to the sound, they realized it was coming from the mighty village of the ancestors, the forbidden village in the motherland. The sound was getting louder, vibrating through their chests, but they were holding their weapons tighter because they were scared to fight the village ancestors. They were all shaking, but Safro said, "We've come too far to stop now. It's better to die a warrior than living a failure." They all then grabbed their weapons and others grabbed stones from the ground and attacked the forbidden village. Some started throwing stones and the others were throwing different tools into the village. But for some time, there was no response from the ancestors. Everything was quiet. They then believed that the ancestors have learned their lesson and they decided to return to Matopeni village. But on their way to the village in the forest, something moved close to them and made the same drum noise. When they turned towards the noise, they realized it was never the village ancestors. It was just an animal that stuck its head inside the drum, and every time it tried to free itself, it created the sound. At this point, they knew that one night the ancestors will visit the village to revenge, and the men that will be found sleeping will never wake up. And from that day, village men never sleep.